Hello everyone, and thank you very much for the opportunity to present. My name is Taufik Fedos Amuzaki, and I'm PhD researcher at the Global Development Institute, the University of Manchester. Today, I would like to share an early stage of my PhD project. This presentation focuses on integrative review on subnational financial capacity in transnational climate finance, with an illustrative example from West Java, Indonesia. Let me begin with a simple point. Climate finance is important not only when money is pledged or mobilized, but when it can actually be turned into real infrastructure, real service, and real delivery on the ground. And that is where subnational government become very important, because in many cases, they are the actors that have to plan, coordinate, co-finance, implement, and maintain the infrastructure that climate finance is supposed to support. So there are two starting points as the background. First, I treat climate finance as a translation problem. Finance only become meaningful when it becomes something concrete in specific place. Second, subnational government matters because they are deeply involved in infrastructure delivery. And the figure on the right reinforced that point, where in many countries, subnational governments account for subnational share of public expenditure. So if they are central to spending and implementation, they are also central to whether climate finance works in practice. The next point is the sheer scale of the challenge. According to the CCFLA, cities needs around 4.3 trillion USD annually from 2023 to 2030 for mitigation alone. You can imagine. On the other hand, the tracked urban mitigation finance is still far below that level. So it is very large gap. And for this research, the important point is that large aggregate finance gap doesn't automatically explain what is happening at the subnational level. It doesn't tell us whether finance is actually reaching subnational government in form of they can use. So it leads to what I call the subnational paradox, where the subnational governments are often central to delivery, but still peripheral to the financial architecture. And also different governance condition and architecture landscape might create different mechanism. As illustration, in more centralized system or kind of unitary governance, access is often mediated through national government channels, sovereign approval, domestic intermediaries, and accredited entities. Meanwhile, in more decentralized system like federal governance, subnational governments may have more fiscal authority. However, they still face constraints such as creditworthiness, debt rules, investor confidence, and regulatory approval. So, in both contexts, finance might exist, but access is not automatically. That's why I moved from the idea of a finance gap into the idea of capacity problem. So to make more clearly, I would like to discuss further about the literature gap, research aim, and the questions that will explain more on the next slide. And this is kind of illustrative literature streams that creates the gaps. For example, the climate finance literature explain more in financial architecture fragmentation. However, there still remain important blind spot, I would say. That is rarely explain what kind of national capacity are needed for different financial mechanism. Or in other literature streams like para-diplomacy, they talk more about transnational engagement for the subnational government, but sometimes they still remain the area that's still underexplored. That is how exactly the financial flow from international relation itself creates the possibility for them to finance green financing infrastructure. So this is where the review tries to make contribution by bringing finance, governance, and subnational capacity into one framework that I propose it to be under subnational financial capacity concept that will be discussed further in this context. So based on that, The objective of this research is to develop and later examine empirically a conceptual framework that explain how subnational government develop and exercise financial capacity to engage with transnational climate finance for green infrastructure. Then the central research question is how that capacity is developed and exercised. And then I break that down into four supporting questions of form of capacity, multi-level governance, para-diplomatic relation, and mechanism-specific demands. So methodologically, this review will involve integrative review under three corpus that I would like to discuss on the next slide. For more specifically, the review used three corpus architecture. The first corpus maps the academic field. The second corpus bring in policy and practice-oriented materials, especially around instruments and institutional pathways. And the third corpus helps sharpen the conceptual language that used to define the construct itself. So these three corpora are not doing exactly the same job. They are serving different analytical functions, and they are brought together through abductive synthesis. The analytical logic here is critical realist and abductive. That matters because subnational financial capacity is not something we can directly observe in simple ways, of course. Usually, we infer it from the traces. For example, can the government pass approval gets secure co-financing, meet fiduciary standard, structure projects, manage disbursement, and sustain delivery? So in this presentation, I treat the framework as professional. There are synthesizing concepts, so there is not fixed variables. And that is important because this is still an early stage of work, and later framework will be needed to test and refine it. Well, the first main result of this review is set of 6 professional dimensions of subnational financial capacity. There are organizational and human resources learning. Second one, fiscal and budgetary capacity, fiduciary and compliance capacity, project preparation and structuring, boundary spending intermediation, and implementation link financial management. The key point is that capacity is multidimensional, so it should not be treated as one generic thing. Different financial contexts might require a different combination of these dimensions. This is one of the slides I want to present quite carefully, actually. What I show here is a preliminary mapping of mechanism sensitivity. The basic idea is that different finance mechanism might place different pressure on different dimensions of subnational financial capacity. For example, grants and climate funds might rely more heavily on learning, compliance, and implementation capacity. Meanwhile, for loan, PPP, and bonds might place stronger pressure on fiscal capacity and project structuring. But I want to be cautious here. I do not treat this as a final result, of course. I treat it as a professional map for the review, which still need to be refined through the later empirical research and findings, of course. So we move further to the conceptual framework. This slide, hopefully I can explain more clearly. At the top of the diagram, you can see together, there are transnational financing mechanism, which I said it from the World Bank literature. So far, I divided into two different resources, whether from public or private resources. Next, for the first conceptual layer is para-diplomacy that creates international openings through knowledge, access, legitimacy, visibility, and international network or connection that become the alternative pathways for subnational government to access transnational financing in this framework. And next, for the multi-level governance, it structures the institutional pathways through approval rules, authority, budget allocation and priority, co-financing requirement, reporting chains, and intergovernmental coordination. And then at the center, there is subnational financial capacity as the core operational capability in this framework. And the outcome of this framework, of course, is not only the financing mobilization, but more green infrastructure project that can actually be accessed, mobilized, and utilized. So the main argument is that finance is translated through the interaction of these three layers. Moving further, for this matrix, it summarizes how different literature streams contribute to the framework, but I would like to I will not explain each one by one. But the main point is that different streams contribute different explanatory pieces. Some help clarify fiscal and fiduciary issues. Some explain project structuring and mobilization. But the main point is that different streams contribute different explanatory pieces, and together they support the move from fragmented debates to integrated framework. So before I close, I would like to turn into illustrative example from Indonesia. In this context, I would like to propose the BRT project in West Java, in Bandung Metropolitan. In overview, in Indonesia, supranational governments rarely access foreign finance directly, actually. External resources are usually mediated through national gatekeepers, domestic intermediaries, project finance vehicles, or capital market pathways. So the key issue is not simply whether finance is available internationally. The key issue is whether subnational actors can navigate those pathways. And each pathways might require different forms of capacity. For example, in approval, budgeting, compliance, project preparation, or coordination. For more specifically, I propose the transportation sector as this case study, especially motivated that the transportation become the major issues, either in terms of the financing gap, also for the contribution to decarbonization target. Especially for Indonesian context, the majority of population living in the urban area, almost 60%. And in Indonesian context, BRT was developed initially in Jakarta, but now already try to be re-implemented and developed in other regions, especially in Bandung, under national project supported by World Bank under Mastran project. But interestingly, in further slide, we have the episode that is para-diplomatic activities. So interestingly, the subnational government in this matter, the West Java provincial government, is not only relying on the national approval or national priorities. Of course, they will follow the master plan from the national level, but the opportunity of a sister province partnership, we can say this part of para-diplomatic activities, already optimized into the higher level. Through the para-diplomacy itself, West Java and Chungnam already committed to make ODA mobilization, especially from national ministry in Korea, to devote or to giving the grants for supporting one of the corridor project in BRT, especially in terms of developing the system of electric bus, including the electricity and charging station ecosystem. So this is very potential case studies to be explored further, because there are having different kind of mechanism of financing, including alternative financing under para-diplomatic practice that I mentioned before on the framework. So that's all. Thank you very much for the time.